What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be discussing Acheron's teams and how they're going to change with the release of Zhao Q in about 10 days. I'm going to go over her free-to-play options, E2 options, E2S1 options, and everything of the sort. So if you enjoy this type of content, let me know by liking the video. Leave a comment in the comment section below and consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you guys so much for helping your boy reach 10K. You guys are the best. I will be announcing a few things in my Discord, so make sure you join up the Discord. I will be announcing some giveaways. I'll be announcing some extra goodies that the channel is going to be providing from now on. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. All right, I'm going to start by saying that this is going to be a very numbers intensive video. So if you're not the type of person who likes to listen to some nerd yap about numbers, then just skip to the end where I go over my conclusion, my results of whatever I found doing these numbers. But if you want more in-depth explanation of why some characters may work regardless of the numbers that you see on screen, then stay tuned and make sure you watch to the end of the video. All right, starting over with the first boxes, S5 Good Night Sleep Well, E0 Acheron with S0 Zhao Q and S Sustain. So in my previous Zhao Q video, we just determined that Zhao Q is going to be by far and away the best Nihility character to run with your Acheron. With that being said, her previous best in slot was Pella, and with good reason. Pella provides a lot of stuff, SP positivity, a lot of defense shred, especially when you pair her up with the resolution of Process Sweat Light Cone. The thing is that Zhao Q can do everything that Pella does, but a little bit better and more consistently. And this is why I swapped my whole Acheron team building strategy to include Zhao Q and Acheron in the team instead of Pella. So the first box is Good Night Sleep Well S5, E0 Acheron with E0 Zhao Q, S0 Zhao Q, and a Sustain. This could be either Gallagher or Aventurine, whichever you feel like doing. This is E0 Acheron you're going to want, or is highly recommended to run two Nihility characters on the team if you don't have a really well-built Sparkle, and that's the only exception. So if you're going to run Zhao Q at S0, you have Luca right here. These are the numbers for Luca, but we can actually skip this entire box. This is only for me. And we can just pay attention to the damage percentage numbers increase. So if you can see Luca, this is what Luca provides. So for single target, Luca is actually going to provide a little more because Luca has a vulnerability debuff, which I didn't previously discuss in my other videos, in my Acheron video. Single target goes up by about 6%, but this is 3 target damage, which is pretty much all coming from the single target damage coming from this, because Luca cannot have vulnerability on more than one enemy at the same time, unless he can just ult, like spam ults, which you can't do that. And then single target damage goes up by about 3.9%. So overall, Luca doesn't seem like a good option. Gwenifin looks like a little bit of a better option because she does apply the Fire Kiss to 3 enemies at the same time. So if you plan it correctly, you can actually apply the Fire Kiss to everybody in the field. But that particular playstyle is a little bit more nuanced, so I don't want to complicate myself with it. So for the single target and the 3 target damage is going to be 18.7% because she adds 28% more vulnerability debuff. So last we're going to be Pella, Silverwolf, and Black Swan, and these are probably going to be the ones that most people are going to be inquiring about, especially Pella. Pella adds an overall 30.5% damage to the entire team because all of her debuffs are AoE. She doesn't have to pick and choose which enemy gets a debuff. She just applies the 56% defense shred to everybody if she is wearing the Resolution Process Sweat Light Cone, which in this case, I calculated everybody using the Resolution Process Sweat Light Cone. So overall, fantastic unit. There is a reason why Pella was the best Nihility character to run alongside Acheron. Next up, we got Silverwolf. Silverwolf here, single target damage, Silverwolf is just unmatched. She kind of doubles Pella's damage multiplier or damage increase to 60.6%, which is insane. But unfortunately, like Luca, she suffers from the single target hell, which she can only boost single enemies at the same time. And if you want to kill a boss, this is probably the best way to go, just adding Silverwolf into the team. For the 3 target damage is 27.5%, which is still pretty high, almost the same as Pella, but this is, remember, this is only this is only with single target. Like this 27.5% is because this number is so high. She has a fuck ton of single target damage and then no blast or AoE. So, but overall 27.5% in 3 target and 17.8% in 5 target damage. And then Black Swan is pretty much kind of balanced, but not as balanced as obviously Pella. 32.2%. A little bit more than Pella, and this is because Black Swan also has a 25% vulnerability that you can take advantage of and ulting during the opponent's or the enemy's turn to take advantage of Black Swan's ultimate. But if it wasn't for that, she wouldn't even be in the conversation because Pella just blows her out of the water. 22.4% for 3 target damage and 19.4% for 5 target. But remember, Black Swan is the only character here maybe a part of Gwenifin and Luca that can actually dish out a lot of damage herself as well. So yeah, aside from her buffing Acheron's damage by these amounts, Black Swan is also going to be doing 100k damage just by being on the team, by stacking the Arcana debuff. So you got to keep that in mind. So off the cuff, if you're looking for single target damage, you may want to slot in Silverwolf with Jiaoqiu and Acheron. If you're looking for just overall damage, just slap in Pella in there, and then you should be good to go. And then Black Swan is the de facto best slot character if you're running Acheron in Pure Fiction. So there you go. There's just 3 uses for Pella, Silverwolf, and Black Swan on an E0 Jiaoqiu Acheron team. So again, Pella for overall multi-purpose Swiss Army knife tool, Silverwolf for strictly single target damage, so Apocalyptic Shadow, and then Black Swan, you can use her for Pure Fiction. All right, these next 3 boxes are assuming that you want to run a Harmony character with your E0 Acheron, and the only character that can possibly make a difference and actually compete with a second Nihility, unfortunately, is going to be Sparkle, because she's giving Acheron so many buffs. And not only that, she allows Acheron to run attack boots and also advances Acheron's action. The only other character that may come close is either Bronya or Robin. But the problem with Bronya or Robin is that Bronya first, your skill points are going to suffer. If it wasn't for the skill point issue, then Bronya probably would be better. And then Robin, the problem with that is that you cannot substitute speed boots for attack boots if you have Robin, even though Robin's attack buff actually makes up for the attack boots. So you could make that argument there, but it's not as good and as comfortable as Robin at E0. So we're going to quickly glance over this. The overall damage, if you have an E0 Acheron plus Sparkle and Jiaoqiu, the character that's going to add the most damage, obviously this is going to be, assuming that you're running as a stainless comp, is going to be Pella, that adds 42.2% damage. Black Swan only adds about 20, and then Silverwolf adds about 16. And again, Silverwolf is always going to be the single target queen, and then Black Swan is going to be more balanced, and Pella is going to be more balanced than Black Swan. And that pretty much repeats throughout the entirety of these 3 tables. This is the same table, but instead of Jiaoqiu, we have Pella, and obviously Jiaoqiu is going to be the best in slot there, no surprise. And now this is the comparison between this box right here. This is the comparison between Pella and Jiaoqiu, which one would add more damage. If you have a Good Night Sleep Ball, E0 Acheron plus Sparkle and a Sustain, adding Pella is going to add 64.2% damage, and adding Jiaoqiu with a Resolution Process Sweat Light Cone is going to add 82.4% damage. So again, no surprise, Jiaoqiu is the best Nihility character for Acheron. Now, when we're speaking about E2 for the same team, let's say you get your E2 Acheron, you have Sparkle and a Sustain. Same thing, adding Pella to that E2 is going to increase your damage to about 98.6, but this is the damage of the E2. And then adding Jiaoqiu with Resolution Process Sweat Light Cone is going to increase your damage by about 120.6%. So again, it's no surprise that Jiaoqiu is the best Nihility character. I'm going to keep repeating it. Best Nihility character by a mile to run with your Acheron, not only because Jiaoqiu adds more damage or the most damage, is because he allows Acheron to stack her ultimate stacks faster than anybody else on the team. It's not even close. It's actually pretty ridiculous. All right, the last thing we're going to be covering is going to be E2 S1 Acheron for my E2 and above havers for Acheron. So obviously you want to run Acheron with Jiaoqiu and a Sustain. Which harmony is the best harmony to run with Acheron at E2? We have Sparkle sitting at 49.5% damage increase. Ruan Mei surprisingly at 43.6. I thought that she was going to be a little bit higher, but remember that a lot of Ruan Mei's actual kit is not taken into consideration. Weakness break efficiency is hard to quantify. Also added speed is hard to quantify, and the actual break damage that she adds onto break damage is also hard to quantify in a table like this. But the one thing that Sparkle is giving Acheron that Ruan Mei isn't is extra turns via action advance and skill points. Even though Ruan Mei is very much skill point friendly, very much skill point positive, it's not as good as Sparkle. Now here's the one that surprised me the most is going to be Robin. You have Robin providing a lot of attack. In most cases is over 1,000 attack, 50% damage increase, and also 20% crit damage buff. And that is a lot of buffs if you ask me. Compared to Sparkle, she's giving you 15% attack, 88% crit damage, and 48% damage increase. Robin is actually totaling up to be a little more. Not only that, Robin does personal damage herself, kind of like the same principle that we talked about when it comes to Black Swan. Black Swan has her own damage that we have to also take into consideration. Robin has kind of like the same thing, even though it's not calculated in this damage right here. Robin does a little bit of damage aside from the buffs that she's providing to Acheron. So, and then on top of that, she also can pretty much squeeze in extra turns when the cycle is about to be over if you use Robin's ultimate correctly. Is it worth more to run Robin to steal a cycle or two over Sparkle? In my opinion, no. I think in my opinion, I still prefer to run Sparkle because just Acheron gets more turns. So more turns just means more damage. With Robin, Acheron just only gets 1 extra turn every time she ults. And with Sparkle, every time you skill, you can potentially give Acheron an extra turn that she probably wouldn't have had. And then last but not least is our girl Bronya, which even though she's a day 1 character, she still provides the highest buffing capability in a single kit. She increases Acheron's damage by about 64.6%. So if you're running for a sustainless full damage comp, you may want to run Bronya and Sparkle in the same team and then run Zhao Q, and then that team is going to go crazy, or run Robin and Sparkle, whichever case you want. But Bronya provides a lot of buffs, 55% attack, 76% damage increase, and I think 48% crit damage, as well as speed and defense. Bronya is just insane. So if you have Bronya E1 S1, you could probably make the argument that you can replace Sparkle for Bronya, but you have to be very, very careful with your skill points. In my opinion, Robin is surprisingly the sleeper in this, because you would never think, personally, at least me, I would never think Robin would be considered in a team for Acheron, but apparently she does very, very well with E2 Acheron. If you have a Zhao Q that's going to be stacking Acheron's debuffs for her, because Zhao Q can stack debuffs at a rate that it covers for 2 nihilities. That's why he's so good. In conclusion, if you're going to run an E0 S0 Acheron on a free-to-play setup, you having Zhao Q on the team with Pella is going to be the best overall team, because Pella just straight up increases your damage across the board, no matter the amount of enemies, the same thing as Zhao Q. If you're going to want 1 Harmony and 1 Nihility character, then probably Zhao Q and Sparkle is going to be the best for you if it's E0. At E2, you can probably pick and choose which one, because you have Zhao Q stacking for 2 Nihility characters, so you kind of don't need the action advance of Sparkle, because Zhao Q helps you stack pretty much as fast as possible. So then you can just pick between Sparkle, Robin, Bronya, whichever one. I probably wouldn't pick Bronya because of skill point issues, and Robin kind of has a similar issue with skill points, but Robin's a little bit better than Bronya in that regard. But I still think Sparkle is probably the best Harmony support for Acheron, in my opinion personally. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Are you pulling for Zhao Q? And if you are, check our friends over at lootbar.gg. You already know. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And until next time, guys, see ya.